Hi, in today's video I'm going to show you how to optimize your avatar for Quest and to fit within the 10 megabytes limit. We're going to do a lot of things today, so you can navigate through the video through timestamps in the description. So first thing we need to do, we need to analyze how much space does our avatar take, so we know what kind of stuff we need to compress or remove. So how do we do that? So first we go put our avatar, the PC avatar, in the scene like this. We go to the SDK. Now we need to log in. Now after logging in, we find our avatar, we name it, and we're gonna click build and test. This is going to make a local test version of our avatar we can put into this website that will analyze the file for us and show us how much space do textures take, how much space do meshes take, and animations, animators, controllers, everything. After the build has succeeded like this, you're gonna open this website, link in description, and put your VRCA that you just generated in. So we just copy this path, click open here to open an asset bundle, and you find your avatar, which is usually the newest one, and you wait a couple seconds. Okay, now it might look scary at first because there's a lot of things going on, but if you understand what's going on, it's actually quite simple. You can see here all the assets, and the C size is mainly what you have to worry about when it comes to the file size of the avatar, so we fit within 10 megabytes. Also, we have VRAM, which is also important to optimize. And we can basically see that we need to downscale a lot of textures, for sure. And also we need to optimize meshes. So I'm gonna show you how to do all that. This step is basically the essential thing to do at first, so you assess what your avatar has going on for it and what kind of stuff you can delete and what kind of stuff you need to keep as such. So first thing we're going to do is that we're going to optimize the polygon count of the meshes on the avatar, which will decrease the file size and also optimize the avatar overall. So what we gotta do, we gotta take our FBX and put it into Blender, which I did right here. And we're gonna start optimizing. So first, you usually want to assess all the assets and figure out which ones you're gonna optimize, which ones you're gonna delete and such. Quick tip before we start, go in Blender into Edit and Preferences and click the key map section and change your spacebar action to search if you haven't done already. This way you can easily search for random functions and functions you want to do. What we could do, we can dissolve some edge loops. So that's a quote-unquote not destructive compared to different methods, because you just dissolve edges you can add back if you need to. So how do we do that? We click on one of these edges, and we left alt, left shift, like left click on the mouse, and you're gonna select the whole edge. Now look for edge dissolve edges. There we go. Now we have dissolve edges. So we can repeat the process onto all the lashes here, and nobody's gonna notice in game. So I'm gonna do that on the other side as well. And this is actually quite fast, and this method is very effective, for example, on hair. When you have hair strands that are not really visible from all sides, on the sides that are not visible, you can literally just dissolve most of the edges. It's gonna help tremendously. Let me just see. Yeah, there we go. Okay, these wraps can be for sure optimized. So we're gonna do the same thing actually. There we go. I'm gonna keep the edge into the middle because I think that actually is pretty important. Okay, yeah, I'm just checking how it looks. It's pretty good. Redo again, there we go. So for this mesh on the color, we can see there's a lot of topology going on here. And dissolving edge loops on every single one of them will take 15,000 hours. So instead, I'm going to do the decimation function. And I click here and I change the ratio to 0.5, which basically means decrease the poly count by 50%. And there we go, that's much better. Okay, so I'm done optimizing the meshes for now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna export my model. And apply scaling should be FBX all, and in armature, you untick leaf bones. This is what I do with every avatar. So here I'm gonna create an FPS called Fang Quest. Export it. It's gonna take a minute. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna put the FBX into the asset bundle website again to see how much space we saved, really. And how are we gonna do that? We're gonna make a makeshift pseudo avatar out of it. I'm gonna show you how to do that quite fast. And for this, we don't need to set the avatar's rig or anything. We just want to see how much space it takes. So there he is. So we're gonna put him into the scene. Just gonna put him to the side. And we add VRChat Avatar descriptor. And that's about it. That's the only thing we need to really do. And now we go to the SDK again. And we built this because this doesn't use textures currently. Well, a few textures are on there, but most textures are not on there. So we're gonna see the meshes quite easily. Also, we need to add an animator and auto fix these issues. And now we click build and test. It's gonna build our avatar pretty quickly, and we're gonna put it into the website. Now that it's done, we're gonna open the website again, and we're gonna add the Quest version that we have just built. And we can see there's still a lot of textures, but our meshes take much less space than before. So we can see these two meshes take almost 3.5. Then we add this and this. Still a lot of space taken. The textures are also included, so we can see how some of them take a lot of space. For example, the pants, but we can fix that later. So to put the avatar into the asset bundle tool with no textures, so we can see how much space the meshes take, just click the FBX, click the material slot, and click none in material creation mode and apply. And it's going to remove basically all the materials and textures and replace them with white standard. And this way, you can see this analysis very clearly. And you can see how much space the avatar takes currently, which is 7.7 approximately. And the limit is 10, so we don't have much space for textures. So we can either remove stuff or optimize it even more and try to fit in. And also, we're gonna have to lower the resolution of the textures. But first, I'm gonna explain to you material combining and atlasing. So, atlasing. Instead of having 15 different materials or more, each with its own 2K or larger texture, instead we're gonna make a 4K texture atlas that's gonna have all the textures we need in it, and only one material is going to use it. So that's going to save a lot of space and optimize the avatar quite a bit. So how do we do that? We open our favorite image manipulation programs such as GIMP or Photoshop, and you create a 4K image. Yes, I'm just gonna make it black because it makes my eyes burn. There we go. And now we need to put all the textures into this atlas basically. So I'm gonna start with the most important ones, which are the eyes and the face and the body. We have to have them have nice detail. Eyes, there we go. So you find your eye textures and you click and drag and put it into your file here. And we can see that this is quite large. Actually, it's a 2K texture, which is quite a lot. So I'm gonna make it 1K. So I'm gonna click the resize tool and resize it to there we go, 1K scale. And now we're gonna put it in the corner, and I'm gonna do it precisely actually on the pixel. That's the best way, because you're gonna have to realign the UVs later. So we're gonna do that. Okay, there we go. We have the eyes. Now I take the skin, the face. I'm gonna start with the face. And the face is quite large, but I want to keep it ideally this large because it has to have nice detail. I prefer that. So I'm just gonna leave it at 2K for now, and I can always change this later and resize it if need be. Just gonna put it in the corner right here. And let me see the body texture. There it is. Put it here. And this one is, this one is 4K, so I'm gonna make it 2K. Scale. And we're gonna move it to the bottom corner. I use my arrow keys, by the way, to move this around. It's quite handy. Okay, there we go. And you do this for all the textures you're gonna use, as much as you can to fit into one 4K texture. But also you can make rectangles, which I'm gonna show you in the next segment. So I need to add more things to the atlas, but I don't have enough space. So I'm gonna make another one, and it's gonna be a rectangle. Like this, 2 to 1 basically. And this can be also used as textures in Unity, and it's actually quite optimized. So it's actually a good way to do things. So I'm gonna put my shoes texture here, and I start and I put everything here the same way basically. Let me just drag it here. The only thing that it will change is a bit is setting up the UV maps. We're gonna do that later in Blender. So you keep adding more textures until you're done. Okay, so I finished making my atlases. This is number 1 and this is number 2, the rectangle. So I'm gonna export them. And I made a Quest Textures folder. So I'm gonna export them here and click export. This is a 4K image, so it's gonna take a little bit. Now I'm gonna export texture number 2. And these are the only textures we're gonna be using for the Quest version, by the way. That's why we made the atlas, so we can minimize the amount of different textures and materials. So now we go to Unity, we let it process. And now, if I'm actually gonna make a material right now. Material 1. I'm gonna put the texture in, the atlas, and I'm gonna drag it onto the avatar. And you can see it doesn't make sense. It's completely like wrong. Why is that? We made the atlas, but we didn't change the UV maps yet, and we need to arrange positions of the UV coordinates. So we're gonna do that in Blender. So I'm just gonna start from above with body, go to UV editing, select all, and now you see the body right here. And you're gonna open the image up. You're gonna open up Atlas 1. And you're gonna select all by pressing A, and then you press S to scale. You scale it, and you scale it to 0.5. That's the size. And now you position it onto the correct part of the atlas. Let me do that real quick. There we go. Looks about right. The thing is, we're gonna test it live, so we're gonna go into shading, and for the body we're gonna add the texture, the same atlas, and now we can see, we change the rendering to this, you can see how it lines or disaligns, and it looks pretty good. So we basically now repeat for every mesh. So I'm gonna take a look at the boxers, and I need to see actually what kind of texture the boxers actually use, because I don't remember. So you can either find them in the atlas itself, or you can just look at the previous version, the PC version. And there's the boxers. And it turns out I didn't add them to the atlas, so I'm gonna do that real quick, and then I'm gonna realign the UV map. So I've added the texture for the underwear here, and I'm gonna add an image because that's the other atlas, so I'm gonna add it here. And you can see how everything is a bit skewed, so we need to actually resize it 0.5 on this axis, and then you scale it 0.5 like the whole thing, because it always like adjusts the size of the UV because of, you know, the texture not being a rectangle. Well, being a rectangle, not being a square. There we go. And now you have to adjust, and I'm pretty sure I can do this. Well, maybe not. Oh, there we go. And maybe like mathematically it doesn't seem to be right. It's a bit of a detective work sometimes, but it, you know, you can always fine tune, like I said. But I think I should actually put it up here. Yeah, should be fine. There we go. And you basically go through every single one of them, and you add all the textures. Let's test the boxers. Atlas 2. And it looks pretty good to me. Yeah, we can fix that later. So you basically keep changing the UV maps so they fit the atlas, and after you're done, I'm going to show you the next step. Then you need to fix the UV maps on shaders that are going to use a matcap, meaning, for example, latex effect or metal effect, metallics. You just scale the UV really small, doesn't have to be large at all, and you put it on like some empty space on the UV map, or just some like black parts of any texture really, because we are going to use separate materials for matcaps, so the position doesn't matter too much. So now I have my avatar ready with all the textures, all the materials set correctly, and I tried uploading it, but it's over the limit. It's 1037. So I'm going to show you two more things you can do to quite easily lower your file size. So first is the resolution downgrading. So currently this texture, which is too x4k is set to 2k, but if I change it to 1k and I apply, it's going to be less detailed, but it's going to be much smaller in size. And this is especially important in like matcaps like this, because you don't need 2k. For matcaps, 256 is more than enough, so I'm going to do that. And another thing you can do to save space is to disable mipmaps. Mipmaps are essentially textures that are generated in lower resolution than the original texture, and they appear when somebody sees your avatar from distance, meaning they're going to see less detailed version, but it's going to be more performant. In case of matcaps and mipmaps are not really, I think, that important, so we can actually just disable them and click apply. And did I apply the texture? Ah, yes, I did. So now I click build and publish, and let's see if it uploads. Luckily, Quest avatars are very small and the building takes seconds or 2 minutes at most. There you go. An avatar is actually being uploaded, so I did pass the 10 megabytes limit by lowering the texture sizes. Now, using these 4 methods, you should be able to get your Quest avatar below 10 megabytes and be able to upload it. Now, for summarization, these 4 methods again are: number 1, dissolving edge loops and decimating geometry; number 2, atlasing materials and textures; number 3, lowering textures resolution; and number 4, disabling mipmaps on textures that don't really need them. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, send this to your friends who might need it, and let me know in the comments what do you think.